Welcome to today's edition of Draft Utopia. Last week I previewed the Western Conference. Today I'm going to preview the Eastern Conference. And before I break down this bracket with William, we're going to go through each team in the conference and their odds at winning the MLS Cup. There's a bunch of teams with
take your fucking Adderall, dude, because I'm fucking sitting here in this fucking waiting room.
New England Revolution.
I'm not going to do it all fucking day, dude.
Odds in the Eastern Conference. I agree. They've got a good back line, but the problem is they don't have that guy who can get you 10 goals a season, and that liability is why I think the Revolution will remain at the bottom of the East. DC United plus 6,700. I actually like DC United. They had a relatively good offseason. They got Teg Healy, Philadelphia Union striker, 10 goals. DC United opens up the season against the Union tonight. They got Nikola Markovic first overall in the draft.
Yeah, then call your doctor's office Monday
back from North Carolina State, runner-up in this year's College Cup. And then they also got Richie Amen by trading allocation money to the New England Revolution. And the Washington midfielder, it was Washington that defeated North Carolina
where
State.
they can get it done.
United got 2 out of 5 Generation Adidas players at midfielder and
because they fucked it up the last 2 times.
They also got a striker in free agency by trading.
I don't know who fucked it up, but somebody fucked it up. They all fucking push blame on each other, so I don't know what to tell you.
Eastern Conference playoffs as a 9 seed, maybe gets the play-in game. Honestly, I was torn between DC United and Philadelphia. I just feel like Philadelphia gave up. They took their ball, they went home, and they quit. I mean, they were the scorership winner last year, and they have one of the best goalies in the league, but they trade their best defender and they trade their best forward for $1 million in allocation money. They just took their ball and went home, and frankly, I'm disgusted by it. So I don't have the Union in my field, but I know they have really good odds to make the playoffs. We'll see. Maybe the Union will
fucking Adderall, Chris.
I doubted them last year when they traded their center back to Chicago and they just reloaded. They do have a really good academy, but for some reason, I am down on. I do think DC United is DC United. It's going to be Philadelphia or DC United in that 9 spot in the East. I think the top 8. I think I've got the correct top 8. New York Red Bulls did bring back Carlos Coronel, so the Red Bulls could be in that conversation as well. But I think for the most part, DC United is a dark horse. It just depends on how the rookies they drafted develop, because there were 5 Generation Adidas players. FC Dallas got 2, DC United got 2, and I'm a lot more confident in FC Dallas's rookies. That's why we had a thumbnail of them last week. But I think, William, it comes down to how the rookies develop. That's going to determine whether DC gets in as a 9 seed or whether they're on the bottom of the outside looking in. But odds makers have them as the 2nd worst team in the Eastern Conference. The 3rd worst team in the Eastern Conference is CF Montreal. And look, the CF Montreal is just bad. They're bad at everything they do, whether it's drafting, whether it's roster management. They had the Herman Trophy winner, the Heisman, which is like the Heisman winner in college soccer, fall their lap at 12 last year, and they ended up cutting him because he wasn't making an impact with the team. They cut him during his rookie season. I mean, and then in 2024, they drafted Grayson Duty. 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 points, 0 shutouts. A defender from UCLA. And the last name is Duty. I'm pretty certain. Yeah, I'm looking to see if you're in the waiting room, William. Yeah, I'm going to call it you. Screw it.
What up?
What's up? So, I mean,
I'll be there in a second.
all right.
I was there, but yeah, just a sec.
So, all right. So, Montreal's interesting. I just think Montreal's awful. And I think there's an argument that could be made that CF Montreal is a worse franchise than the New York Jets. I think this argument, and look, CF Montreal, the only reason I'm acknowledging this franchise is because I just all right. I mean, I'll get to some of the other playoff teams in a second, but I'm trying to get the non-playoff teams out of the way. Montreal, they got rid of a Herman Trophy winner and cut him during his rookie year. Gave up on the player during his rookie year, which I think is a very bad decision. They also took a player that had 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 points, 0 shutouts in the top 10 2 years ago. So I don't trust anything CF Montreal does as a soccer organization. I think they are up there. If we were putting professional sports teams in the F tier, William, I think there are 3 that qualify right now. Montreal, the New York Jets, Chicago White Sox. I think the White Sox, of those 3 teams, have the best chance of getting out of the total rebuild they're in right now. I think the team that has the least likely chance of getting out of that rebuild is Montreal. Yeah, you heard that correctly. I think the Jets have a better chance of getting out of their rebuild than Montreal does. Because Montreal cannot get talent through the draft. They cannot get talent through free agency. And they cannot get talent through their academy. The good players that are in their academy, at soccer academy, end up going to college, and then they end up signing with other teams. So that's a big problem for Montreal. That's why I at least have nice things to say about the Jets. Are they a joke compared to the other 31 NFL teams? Yes.
Yes, very much.
But I still have nice things to say about them. Like, they were able to keep Garrett Wilson. They were able to get first-round picks for Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams. I can't say that about Montreal. And I can't really say anything nice about the White Sox either, but I'm going to refrain from insulting them because they were able to pitch really good players away, like Andrew Vaughn, like Garrett Crochet for minor league prospects, and they got the number 1 pick in the MLB draft lottery, which I don't think they can screw up. So, and plus, like I told you, William, I think the White Sox have the best chance of those 3 teams to get out of the rebuild the quickest. But the reason I'm not going to say anything positive about Montreal is because I think the White Sox, and the Jets are the 3 worst run franchises in sports. But I think the White Sox have the best chance of getting out of rebuild of those 3. If I had to pick a team of those 3 who's going to get out of the rebuild first, I think I'd go with the White Sox, William.
Well, yeah, and that's like you just mentioned, man. You know, how they traded away star players to get extra picks, get extra, get prospects, get everything else. And to just go into the rebuild like that, get it done right off. I mean, that is absolutely, I mean, somebody must have said something to him, you know, maybe because that's the way to get back. And then, you know, with those prospects, you'll find a gem somewhere. I'm sure it's always going to happen that way. You know, I mean, players come up. That's just how sports is, man.
Exactly.
And that's why I love sports.
Well, they can't keep any of the players they have in their academy, like the players in their academy, and they can't get any good free agents. So I'd say they're the worst of those three franchises. And I don't think there's a franchise as bad as those three in hockey or in basketball right now with all the parity.
Well, yeah, and even the Jets, you know, I mean, look back on their history. You know, their best quarterback is Joe Namath, and he threw more interceptions than touchdowns.
That's true.
Not a lot of people talk about that. And you know, their second best quarterback is Chad Pennington. It's like, but you know, that's where quarterbacks go to die. And I can't believe that, you know, Justin Fields, what he must have saw was just that he had the easiest chance of starting with the Jets. But yeah, they didn't give there wasn't an offensive line. You know, they didn't take a player in
Toronto
around 4 for years.
Bad. I mean, they got Tyree Spicer #1 overall 2 years ago in the 2024 draft. They traded him away to Orlando last year. Their situation might be just as bad, but at least I trust their GM Jay Heaps. I don't feel like any of the players in their roster have been very good, but I trust their GM and I do like their goalie. Luka Gavrin's been a very good second-round pick. So that I will say about Toronto. I can't say anything else positive about them, but it's more than I could say about Montreal. Atlanta United, they are going to be reliant on Jaden Hibbert, the goalie they took in the 2024 draft, who started last year as Brad Guzan retired. And they also got Enzo Davlo with the 12th pick in this year's draft. They got $400,000 in allocation money from FC Dallas in the trade where they moved down out of number 2, and Dallas took Ricky Lewis with that second pick. So we'll see what Atlanta does, but I'm not confident I'm just not confident in New England. I'm not confident in Montreal. I'm not confident in Toronto, and I'm not confident in Atlanta. And I mentioned the Union. They gave up their best forward, their best midfielder for $1 million in allocation money. You had the best record in the regular season. You don't need to blow up your team just because Inter Miami's got Lionel Messi and they brought in the goalie who led the league in shutouts. You don't need to blow up your team and ruin your 33-year-old goalie's chances of winning a championship. And you drafted this goalie #1 overall, and by trading your best forward and your best defender, you're ruining his opportunity to win a championship, which I don't agree with. But Philadelphia, they traded 3 years of first-round picks to the Rapids. They traded their best forward, their best defender for $1 million in allocation money. So I don't know what the heck they're doing, but they still have the second-best odds to win the conference. I don't like the way they're running their organization, so I've got them outside of the playoff picture. They're the last team in. And now we get to the fun part where we're going to eliminate some teams. We'll start with the play-in bracket. I could still preview some of these teams in the East a little bit further in depth, but I already kind of went over DC United. Columbus Crew, they lost their icon, Darlington Nagbe, 4-time MLS Cup champion. They still have their young goalie, Patrick Schultz, 22 first-round pick. And I don't see Jimmy Haslam's franchise losing a home game in the play-in round. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe out DC United from this list here. And then the other play-in game is Houston and Real Salt Lake. And these two teams are pretty even. I think the Dynamo might have a slightly better roster on paper, but Real Salt Lake has the better coach in Pablo Mastroeni. So I'm going to let William pick the winner here. And if he doesn't want to pick the winner, I'll flip a coin. Their best midfielder.
Oh, wait, what happened?
I'm going to let William pick the winner here on the Western Conference play-in bracket for Houston, Real Salt Lake. If he doesn't want to pick a winner, I will flip a coin with my lucky silver dollar.
Man. Well, you can flip a coin too, but I'll take Real Salt Lake.
All right. Bye-bye, Houston. So Yeah. So there we have one upset.
There's some salty motherfuckers over there in Salt Lake.
Yeah, Real Salt Lake's in Utah, but yes, I'm looking.
Way to slip in that PG-13 rating, wasn't it?
Exactly. Exactly. And Columbus Crew, they do have a good forward, but they lost Darlington Nagbe 4 times. There are only 9 other players in league history that won 4 MLS Cups. Darlington Nagbe, your captain, and a guy who helped you bring 2 MLS Cups to Columbus, helped Jimmy Haslam save his team. I don't think they can beat Miami without him. And Inter Miami got better. I mean, Inter Miami got Dane St. Clair in free agency. Yannick Bright can replace the defensive midfielder that retired, and they got a left back from Chelsea. So I just think, and there's rumors they might try to get Neymar or Cristiano Ronaldo. If those guys go to the MLS, sign with a Western Conference team so we get a really good MLS Cup. Because if guys just keep going to Miami to play with Messi, who's considered the best soccer player in the world, Miami's going to have a super team. They're going to become like the Dodgers of the MLS or the Lakers of soccer. And yeah, I know the Galaxy were like that when they had Landon Donovan and David Beckham, but it feels like to a greater extreme with Inter Miami now in the 2020s. But I don't know. As much as I'd like to see Columbus pull this upset, I just don't think they can. I'm going to go with they feel like a team that may be on the decline, so I'm going to go with Inter Miami. They're going to be the first team to punch a ticket. And as much as I'd like to see Real Salt Lake upset FC Dallas, I mean, FC Dallas, they're owned by Clark Hunt. I talked about them last week. Ricky Lewis, 4 goals, 4 assists in the preseason. Best rookie number since Taylor Twellman in 2002, who went first overall in 2002, had an 8-year career in the MLS before head injuries forced him to retire early. And Real Salt Lake, I feel like they can get into maybe get to the round of 16, but that's probably their ceiling. So I've got both 1 seeds in the second round. Orlando City, they didn't have Duncan McGuire most of last year. They do have him back. They've got a lot. They've got 3 other 10-goal scorers. They drafted a central midfielder out of Wake Forest, and they drafted a center back out of Michigan. Both of them signed as rookies to the roster, but I feel like they need a lot more help. And even with these, they needed a goalie. They didn't get a goalie in this draft. They are banking on their homegrown goalie to be the guy. And even if Orlando gets back in the top 7, Cincinnati has all 11 starters from last year back. And I think Orlando is good enough to where they can get back in the top 7, but I don't think they're a team that's ready to win a playoff series. I mean, they lost the play-in round to Chicago last year. Chicago was an 8 seed, and they lost the play-in round to Chicago despite having a fully healthy team. So bye-bye, Orlando. LAFC's got all 11 starters back. San Diego FC was the 1 seed last year, made the conference finals. They don't have a striker with 10 goals. They don't have a midfielder, but Manu Dua and Paddy McNair, really good back line, very strong goaltending. But I think LAFC having a more complete team at forward and midfielder, that is the difference, and that is a very tough place to play on the road. So I'm going to have to eliminate San Diego. And I don't want to eliminate San Diego, but I kind of have to. So the 1 seeds and the 2 seeds have moved on. New York City, FC, and Nashville. I'm going to go with Nashville here. Nashville has 10 starters back. They lost Walker Zimmerman, their best defender, but they did trade for a younger defender with the first-round pick in the Super Draft, and Charles Emil Brunette, their third-round pick, appears they hit on that. And Kevin Pierre, second-round pick, got a 2-way contract to MLS Next, and Charles Emil Brunette, their Nashville's third-round pick, got a 1-way contract straight to the MLS as a third-round pick. So I'm going to go with Nashville here over New York. I know New York made the Eastern Conference Finals last year, but they lost their attacking midfielder. They took Ransford Yin at 27th, but he's going back to Clemson, so I think they're going to have a void at attacking midfielder. And honestly, that's what's so tricky about them. This is a hard series to pick. Seattle Sounders have all 11 starters back, but the Vancouver Whitecaps are the defending conference champions. I felt like Vancouver's run was very fluky, but they are number 2 in odds behind LAFC to win the conference, according to Vegas. But Seattle Sounders play in Lumen Field where the Seahawks play. So I don't think the Whitecaps can go into that environment and win. Now, if the Whitecaps are the higher seed, I think they can beat Seattle. But in a best-of-3 series where they have to go to Seattle twice, Lumen Field is loud, and it's very traumatic. Not just for MLS fans, it's traumatic for William, too, as a Niners fan. So,
hey, we beat them up there in first game of the season. So,
that's true.
We're tough as hell, too, man.
Beat them. I mean,
of course, it was week 1 when we had all our starters.
Yeah, but Vancouver, I just feel like Vancouver, they still need another guy to complement Brian White on the offense. I like the goaltending. I like the defense, but I like Seattle's defense too. And I think Seattle with a fully healthy offense, Jesus Ferreira, Jordan Morris, the guys they have in that core, I just think they're better than Vancouver. So I have to get rid of Vancouver. I have to. Okay, these 4-5 series are tough to pick, William.
Get out of here. Damn Canadians.
Yep, all the Canadian teams are out. So 4-5 is in the East. We've got Charlotte and Chicago. Both teams have all 11 starters back, but I can't decide between these two teams. Charlotte's owned by Dave Tepper, by the way, and they did sign Will Cleary, their first-round pick. Chicago has not gotten any of their draft picks signed. I'm tempted to take Charlotte simply because they're due to win a playoff series, but Chicago ended their playoff drought in MLS in the fall last year, and then they ended their NFL playoff drought with the wild card win over the Packers. So the Chicago playoff drought, because the Fire hadn't won a playoff game since 2009, the Bears hadn't won a playoff game since 2011. Both those droughts now officially over. Dave Tepper has lost his last 2 playoff games. Both his teams made the playoffs, Charlotte FC and the Carolina Panthers, but both teams lost despite having home field. In this situation, they'd be traveling on the road to Chicago. And Chicago has 3 different venues. They have Soldier Field, and they have another venue they play at too for soccer. So the fact that you don't know which venue you're going to play at, that's a massive home field advantage for Chicago. I think I have to take Chicago simply because I don't want Dave Tepper here, but I will let William pick the winner here because these two teams are about even.
I kicked Tepper out of there, man. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Dave Tepper.
He's a little bit arrogant. I don't like the guy. I know who he is.
Yeah. I
know what he stands for.
My LA Galaxy versus San Jose. This is another tough series to pick. Bruce Arena versus former team. San Jose's got 11 quality starters, but LA Galaxy with Ricky Peeg back from a torn ACL. He was big in the 24 MLS Cup. Missed all of 2025. Oh, and we traded for Joe Klaus, the St. Louis City SC striker. I think those trades give my Galaxy a little bit of an edge over the Earthquakes, but this is a very tough 4-5 matchup for me to pick. So I am going to take the Galaxy here. So that's going to narrow it down. I really want Chicago to knock Messi out of the playoffs, but it's just not going to happen. FC Dallas, LA Galaxy. This is a tough series to pick because I think the Galaxy have a better starting 11 than FC Dallas, but FC Dallas made the playoffs last year and the Galaxy didn't. And if FC Dallas is the home team, they might win a second series, especially if they're the 1 seed. I mean, they've got 3 defenders that played 2,000 minutes. Their homegrown goalie blossomed. Ricky Lewis, 4 goals, 4 assists in the preseason. Nick Simmons is gelling with Logan Farrington and Peter Musa. And everyone's saying if Peter Musa gets traded for allocation money, this team's going to implode. No. They went 4-1 in the preseason, guys. And both of their draft picks look better than the 2 guys DC United drafted at 1 and 8. So I I think this is a very tough matchup to pick. What direction should I lean in? Because I don't want to have too many 1 seeds in the conference finals, but at the same token, it's like, I don't want to be too biased toward my team either.
Yeah. You got to kick that fan stuff out of there. I know how that is, man. That's why the other night I was doing that, going into fan mode and putting on my Niners hat.
What should I do here, William? Should I
go with your team, though, man?
On paper, I think the Galaxy do have a better roster, but at the same time, FC Dallas is the home team. I don't want to be biased towards my Galaxy. Or am I going to have to flip a coin here? William does not want to pick a winner here. I'm going to flip a coin.
Go with the Galaxy.
Yeah, FC Dallas is owned by Clark Hunt.
That would be
and that is enough of a reason for me to pick my Galaxy.
Yeah, and
because Clark Hunt denied your Niners 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, with some questionable officiating.
So you do not like Clark Hunt.
Yeah.
All right. Nashville and FC Cincinnati. These 2 teams are pretty even, but I'm taking Cincinnati simply because Walker Zimmerman was the captain of Nashville since they were an expansion team. With him gone, I don't think they're the same. I don't think they're good enough to beat Cincinnati, who has 11 starters back. And I'm guessing we're going to do LA versus LA. I'm guessing we're going to kick the Sounders out too, since they share the same stadium as the Seahawks. Or are we keeping them in? I think this is a very tough series to pick. I think Seattle and LAFC are both pretty even, to be completely honest. But Vegas is saying LAFC is the team to beat. Vegas is saying LAFC is the team to beat. Vegas is going to be wrong about either Miami or LAFC. Vegas has Inter Miami as the favorite to win the East, and LAFC is the favorite to win the West. They're going to be wrong about one of those 2 teams. That's kind of why I'm leaning Seattle here, William, because they're going to be wrong about one of those 2.
Flip a coin on this one, man. We'll make it interesting.
Coin. Okay, coin. Coin it is. All right, so if it's heads, we're going with LAFC. If it's tails, we are going with the Seattle Sounders.
All right.
It is heads, so LAFC.
Seattle, get the out of here.
Yeah. So we've got an LA Conference Finals. And
now that we've got everyone related to rivalries out of the page, Anyway.
Yeah. So I really want to see Cincinnati in the MLS Cup because it's like they've got all 11 starters from last year back, but Inter Miami just embarrassed them in the playoffs 4-1, and that game was in Cincinnati after the Bengals lost to the Patriots. By the way, it was on the same day the Bengals lost to the Patriots, and it was 4-1, and that was without Dane St. Clair on Miami. He led the MLS in saves, shutouts, best goalie in the league, and Minnesota only offered him like $1 million, $2 million. And Lionel Messi, the best player in the world, is making $12 million a year. And Dane St. Clair chose to go to Miami for under $1 million, and Minnesota only offered him $1 to $2 million. So if you've got the best goalie in the league, how much do you have to offer him to keep him in a smaller market? I would say at least $5 or $6 million. You don't have to go $12 million, but I would say at least $5 or $6 million. Minnesota was cheap. That's why they lost their goalie. And I think with Dane St. Clair on Miami, it's going to be much harder for Cincinnati to beat Miami, especially in the brand new Freedom Park, which is opening later this year. Freedom Park, it is a new soccer stadium in Florida set to open. So as I really do, because last year Joey picked FC Cincinnati and LAFC to play in the MLS Cup. As a fan, I want to see FC Cincinnati win because they've done everything right. They've kept their core together. The problem is I just think Miami's a better team. Miami beat Cincinnati 4-1 last year in Cincinnati, and they're a better team this year than they were a year ago. That's the problem. As a fan, I want Cincinnati to win, but as a critic, I just can't pick against Inter Miami.
Yeah.
They got the best player in the world, Lionel Messi. And they've gotten better since last year. So They're going to be playing.
Firepower, man. For sure.
Man, I really want to pick my Galaxy to go to the MLS Cup, but LAFC is a tough team to beat. Julio's squad, LAFC. But having the two favorites is kind of boring as well. I feel like this is a coin flip, another coin flip, William. What do you think?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. So is LAFC heads again, or are they tails this time?
Give them heads again.
All right. So the LA Galaxy are tails. And it's heads again. So LAFC is going to play Miami for the MLS Cup. And that's what most people in Vegas are picking, by the way. Most people in Vegas have Inter Miami beating LAFC. So the Vegas favorite to win the East and the MLS Cup is Inter Miami. The Vegas favorite to win the West is LAFC. And ironically, both teams are playing tonight at the LA Coliseum, where the USC Trojans play. That's where both teams are playing. So,
yeah,
on Apple TV. So we will heads LAFC, tails. I don't know. I mean, I'm very tempted to pick. I just think Inter Miami's a better team. I'm not going to pick So Inter Miami's going to be my champion. I mean, they had 5 of their rookies competing for first-team reps, but they didn't sign any of them. And as much as I want to pick LAFC, I just think Inter Miami's a better team at the moment. They still have the guy. But yes, Inter Miami will be my 2026 MLS Cup champion. I'm not going to save my document. Everyone who saw me screen share the document knows what I did. And pretty much, I've been watching the Olympics. I don't know what's going on. So, yeah, but let's figure out, what do we want to talk about here, William? Do you want to do some off-season outlooks? Do you want to do the draft simulator? I'm trying to figure out, now that we've knocked out all the soccer talk.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what direction to go in, because NHL's not going to be back until Monday after, or Tuesday or Wednesday after the Olympic Games, because I know the men's Olympic game between Canada and U.S., that's tomorrow at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. on television. That's insane.
Yep. Got to wake up early, man.
Yep.
But do some football, man. You know, I mean.
We will talk some football. I'm not that bitter. I mean, I said I wasn't going to talk football, but it's like there's nothing else to talk about. I don't want to talk about the NBA until the end of the playoffs are on.
Yuck.
Nope. I like hockey, but it's like,
Nah,
I
man.
like hockey, but there's the Olympics are on. It's not quite hockey time. We will talk NHL trade deadline next week, as well as some combine news, because I'll have a combine show on. I'll have combine shows on. I know we're interviewing Joey on Under the Bleachers on Wednesday, assuming he's still down for that.
What the hell, dude?
What's up?
Well, I'm sitting here trying to find some more tape on Josh Pitzenberg.
What's interesting is DC United drafted Murkovic #1 overall, but Murkovic could not beat out Lucas Bartlett for the starting center back job. And Bartlett's been on 4 different teams since he was drafted. That's like Mendoza losing the starting quarterback job to Carson Wentz. Honestly, that would be a story. If the Raiders got Carson Wentz in free agency and Mendoza couldn't beat him out in camp.
Well, you know, that's just like Trey Lance, you know, getting beat out by Blaine Gabbert, you know. I mean,
yeah.
Wow. But, you know, I'm trying to find some Yale football, but I went to NFLvideo.com. I can't find any.
You want to look for there's Ivy League football. You want to look that up on YouTube, I believe.
Yeah, I was already on YouTube as well, and I wasn't finding much.
I'm looking at Yale football full game. There's the game against Dartmouth. So he can scout Delby Lemieux and the Yale running back in that game.
Okay, I haven't watched that one. So
that's from 4 months ago. It's 3 hours. There's also
Cool.
the Yale-Montana State game. There's the Harvard-Yale game, which you've watched, and there's Yale at Princeton. So there's 4 games. Oh, and Yale played Youngstown State, but they won. We know they won that game since there's a round game.
The 2 that I got were
Harvard and Youngstown State.
Yeah, and Harvard. So that's 2 I got so far. I'm glad to hear there's 2 more
games of Yale football with the running back you like. So yeah.
Well, it's the thing, man. Nobody knows about this kid, and he's got patience and vision. It's like, wow, and he actually can break away a little bit. You know, it's like, and no one's talking about this kid. I mean, he's got so many NFL traits, and I've been real good on picking running backs the last couple of years. So I mean,
do you want to do off-season outlooks, or do you want to attempt to do a 3 or 4 round draft simulator with the Niners and Patriots, and then we could go by Vegas odds for some of the early picks?
Yeah, let's do the draft simulator. Let's do that.
All right. I just double checking before.
Yeah. Then if Joey gets on, we can throw on his Browns, so he can grab he doesn't want a quarterback.
If Joey messages me, I will respond, but I think Joey still enjoying his vacation. I am in a better mood versus after the Super Bowl, but it's like, man.
That Super Bowl slump, dude, like afterwards is just terrible.
I was just pissed. If the game's not competitive, the team I'm rooting for better win. Otherwise, and the NFL is just going to keep doing that because they know people won't tune away. This is the second year in a row and this is probably going to be the second year in a row where the World Series, Stanley Cup, and the NBA Finals all end up being better than the Super Bowl. So if the NFL tries this or puts 2 teams I dislike in next year's Super Bowl, I'm going to make sure the ratings plummet, because here's the reason. If you're a Patriots fan and they don't get back to the Super Bowl, you should make the ratings plummet as a fan, because if you do that, the NFL will be incentivized to put the Patriots back in the Super Bowl. That's basic economics. That's basic supply and demand. If a Super Bowl without the Patriots gets lower ratings than a Super Bowl with them, the NFL is going to realize we have to put them back in the Super Bowl. But here's the thing. People, if they put Josh Allen, people are going to watch and the ratings are going to be being through the roof. But I'm going to say Mendoza goes to the Raiders, but I am going to look up Vegas odds for NFL draft Vegas odds. I am going to look up some NFL draft Vegas odds. Some team odds, all this other stuff.
Yeah, that'll be nice to get some full games in. I was watching this one. He must have been in high school or something. And wow, dude. He was just dominating. It was pretty good.
I screen share the draft simulator.
Talk about
let me do that right now. But the Raiders, they need more than Mendoza. They need a right tackle. They need some weapons for Mendoza at wide receiver. They've got the tight ends and Ginty. They've got most of the offensive line.
All right, so
and if
we've had so many conversations.
An edge rusher.
Yeah, we've had so many conversations about Mendoza lately, and it's like, how are we actually sure? All I'm seeing is fans sure that Mendoza is going. Fans and analysts from ESPN, saying that he's going first overall. It's like Tom Brady didn't say he's going first overall, and of course he says that he loves him because that drives up the what do you call it, trade value. Anyway, I was forgetting that, but and who was that in your group that asked? He's a friend of mine on Facebook. He said, well, then who's going first overall? Well, I don't know, but with the quarterbacks that are coming in 2027, possibly 2028,
but you're not
why would
number
Brady
one pick, so you may as well
Mendoza?
take your guy.
Well, yeah, but it's like, dude, you can trade that pick, and of course, maybe they say 4 first-round picks because they're after 3 first-round picks, just like Trey Lance, just like some of the quarterbacks lately, And I like the kid, but like I said,
to go second overall is Ohio State middle linebacker Arvell Reese. So for the beginning of the draft, I am going to be using betting odds.
Yeah, I saw some tape recently on Arvell Reese, and he is good, man. I'm surprised I haven't.
Current betting favorite to go third to the Arizona Cardinals is Spencer Fano, which I know Joey does not like this scenario, but Jonah Williams is a UFA. You get Fano, you pair him with Paris Johnson Jr. You have 2 bookend tackles for whoever the quarterback is.
Yeah.
And then the Titans are favored to get Reuben Dane Jr.
Hell of an edge rusher. I've seen a little bit and heard a lot of good things about David Bailey lately too.
Yeah, I still think David Bailey would be the best player on the board for the Giants to draft here at 5, but the betting favorite to go 5th to the Giants is Carnell Tate. Carnell Tate's the betting favorite to go 5th. Now, I'm going to look up Browns draft odds. Right now.
We'll fill in for Joey.
I'm guessing it would be Maui Goa's been mocked to Cleveland at 6, Conception and Caleb Downs.
Conception.
I would say at this point it is. I would say in this scenario it is probably Caleb Downs.
It's got to be because he's considered by a lot to be the best player in the draft, period. But safeties are notoriously not taken that high.
Yeah, I know the Browns would like to have either Fano or Tate, but in this scenario,
you got to think about it, man. Little brothers are always bigger, faster, stronger, and I was thinking about that going back to some of them that I've known, and it's like Caleb Downs, his brother Josh Downs, and it's like maybe evolution has had something to do with that, to the point to where they get bigger and stronger.
I know Jeremiah's
brought David Bailey brother.
Browns, and personally, I love David Bailey on the Browns, but they have they extended Alex Wright. Myles Garrett's coming off a career season. That's why I don't think they'll go edge rusher at 6. So
you can't ever have too many edge rushers. I'll just say that.
That's true.
And Super Bowls have proved that. Between the Eagles, Patriots, or the Giants going back to beating the Patriots, should I say. The defensive line in that game they should have split it 4 ways. And for MVP. But yeah. It wasn't Eli Manning so much that beat him, but that defensive line was something else.
Well, here's the thing: if they are looking at Tyson, they're looking at Lemon and they're saying Nussmeier, Ty Simpson. These are looking at. Those are the only 2 QBs the Browns are looking at.
Lemon, he runs with more pop than Jordan Tyson does.
This is from Cleveland.com. This is, I don't know how legitimate they are as a website, but
yeah. Is Bill Musgrave still up there?
I'm gonna go with I don't know if he is. I'm gonna go with.
I'm gonna look this up real quick.
I'm gonna go with Downs for the Browns at 6.
Yeah, you can't ever go wrong with the best player in the draft. generally they consider that for a good reason. Who is quarterback coach for the New York Jets? Oh, wow. I think I heard that one time. Huh. So he's with the Jets now. That actually looks pretty good. I'd like to know what happened there with Fields last year because, that didn't work out so well. They ended up with a rift in the organization and a little spat between Fields and Woody Johnson,
Yeah, but I'm looking at the Commanders. Right now, Dave Von Miller's the edge rusher at right end.
Yeah.
He's a UFA. I think replacing him with David Bailey is the route you go here. Yeah, you could get Jeremiah Love, too. That's also an option, but I don't see anything.
Yeah, Love's going to go high. That's been a thing like
draft target predictions
last year.
Draft. Caleb Downs, he's gone. Cardinal Tate, he's gone. David Bailey and Jordan Tyson.
Go with Bailey, man.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're more likely to get someone like Ayuk in free agency versus drafting.
Tyson was just soft when he was running. Like I said, Malachi Lemon runs with a little bit of pop, almost reminiscent of.
I think Tyson has the highest ceiling, but I also think he has the lowest floor of the three.
Yeah, I agree with that very much, man.
That's the thing you got to look at.
Yeah.
Right now, the top two options are Jeremiah Love and Jordan Tyson for the Saints at 8.
Give them. Well, they also have Devin Neal, and
they've got Kamara, which is why I'm leaning Tyson. I think they need a receiver much more than they need a running back.
Well, the one thing about Kamara is, he has been rather average at his production, but people love him because of what he's done in fantasy football. I think he's a little bit more.
Yeah, 3 mock drafts have Jeremiah Love at 8, Matt Miller, Pat 3, and Canal Street Chronicles. Connor Field at 8. But we are in agreement that it should be a receiver. We're in agreement it should be a receiver.
Well, who else is on the board for a receiver?
Well, I think it's either going to be Tyson or Love because I think I looked up the consensus odds. I want the computer to pick based on betting odds. So it's either Jeremiah Love or it's Tyson.
Well, go with Love because of even when you have a young running back coming up, most running backs are committees, most backfields.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Love can actually
and most mock drafts have Love. Most mock drafts have Love to the Saints. So if we're going by real life odds, then Jeremiah Love is a Saint.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so Chiefs. Reuben Bain Jr. is off the board. So is Love. The other 2 players still on the board are Maui Goa if they cut Jawan Taylor and Peter Woods out of Clemson. We're going to go with Peter Woods here. I think getting younger on defense has to be the priority.
I say give him the one with the lowest floor. Oh shit! I got my computer. Wow. But yeah, I definitely.
Yeah. So Bengals 2026 draft odds. David Bailey, Caleb Downs, Mansour Delane, Francis Mauigoa. They drafted Mims 2 years ago, and I don't think Mauigoa is an upgrade over Mims. So Bengals are going to get Mansour Delane.
Your audio is doing something funny. It's going in and out, low and then high.
Okay. Let me Let me see what's going on. Oh, no. Now it looks better. Now my audio looks better. Okay.
Well, it's still kind of doing that because now now I can barely hear you.
Well, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm trying. It was on. I think the webcam is where the audio comes from.
Gotcha.
That's the only way people could hear me when I went on Emmanuel's show the other night. Let's see who the hell has 11 Dolphins. What are the Dolphins draft odds here? 2026 draft odds.
They've got to start building from the inside out again. You know, I mean, that was
their top mock draft targets are both off the board, Downs and Delane. So
they got to pick somebody along the line. You know, I mean, whichever line it is, because that was Mike McDaniel's fatal mistake in Miami. Was he was going with home run hitters on offense and doing his best he could to get them, and he kind of got away from how it should have been, you know, and that's what young coaches sometimes end up doing. He'll be fine as a coordinator, and hopefully, you know, when he gets a headed coaching role again, might be able to do something, because I mean, he has a brilliant mind. Oh wow, my camera's on. That's funny. It's never actually worked before.
Right now, I would say the Dolphins. All right. So someone has a thumbnail of Makai Lemon on the Dolphins for their YouTube channel. So that's going to be the pick. Makai Lemon is going to be a Dolphin. Well, no, I actually get Tyson higher, but has Makai Lemon. So Dolphin here. Cowboys, they get number 12, and I am Cowboys tight. I'm honestly debating whether to give the Cowboys Tyson as a replacement to Pickens. I think he's the best receiver of the three long term. I also think he's the biggest project, a bigger project than Tate and Lemon in terms of floor. But also go Maui Goa as well. Great. So this is not loading the draft.
We still on Miami?
So
are we still on Miami? Can you hear me?
let me see what we got here.
Hey, can you hear me, Chris? Can you hear me, Chris?
Interesting. So Sonny Styles is the consensus. Sonny Styles at outside linebacker. Took Makai Lemon. The most. Nope. No, William. We are on Dallas now. See? Wait. Is the screen not loading on Restream here? The screen's black
on
my computer. The screen on Restream is black.
Well,
but
I can see Anthony Hill Jr. and Tyson above him.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
William, is the screen black? Can you see the screen on Restream?
I can if you can hear me.
Screen on Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, William.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah, because I can see Anthony Hill Jr.
Yes,
Restream
is being a
Well, hey guys, I guess he left. Got to entertain you till he gets back talking about this, but wait a minute. Anyway, I don't know, man. Technical issues. Like I said, with the Dolphins, they definitely need to start building from the inside out. Like I said, McDaniel, he's going to be a great offensive coordinator with the Chargers, and I find that a real interesting pick with Jim Harbaugh and how he does, because he builds from the inside out. He knows all those things, and it's absolutely going to make him look good. Marion Hampton, he is a 3-down back. He is big, and he is fast. Besides that, they have to figure out what they're doing at quarterback, whether they're going to keep Tua or whatever, after they literally try to kill him. Quinn Ewers, I said last year that once he got on the field, it was going to be hard to take him off. He had that win late in the season, and he threw 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That was a little bit, but he won the game. It's like when he's dropping back and making reads, he always picks the right one, and he's just got that instinct. And that's why Quinn Ewers, I was surprised that he actually fell that far to the 7th round. And anyway, to get beyond that, they need to figure out what they're doing on defense. They've got Chubb. He was a really good player when, they made that trade a few years back. But anyway, what did he say, that Dallas was next? Man, fuck the Cowboys. But besides that, Jerry Jones is great at picking offensive linemen and starting that build from the inside out. But like I was just talking about with Miami, but his other things, he seems to not pick players that have the fire, that have the heart, like what they do. Dak Prescott, he puts up plenty of stat numbers, people love him because of fantasy football. But however, he can't win. They haven't made it past 1 game, in the playoffs. And how long? They had how many 7, 9 seasons in a row, 3 or 4. And it's just the Cowboys. The defensive line, they're good. But they ended up getting rid of Travion Diggs, so they have some things to figure out. Dylan Thieneman, he's a safety, but like I said, they're notoriously not drafted this high. So that, even though it would be a solid choice, I don't really see that happening. I kind of hope Thieneman, slides all the way down to maybe the Niners. I wouldn't mind picking him in the first round, even though we definitely need a wide receiver and definitely need something or a tight end, to groom behind George Kittle, because he is just the best in the league right now. The way he plays, he is absolutely in his prime, and watching him tear his Achilles was just, that's when I knew our season was over. I was still talking shit, as a fan, but I just knew that was the end of it. and that was the end of our fight. And what happened, like I said, I mentioned earlier, we beat Seattle week 1, but that's when we had all our starters, and they just fell off right after that, one after another, like dominoes, to the point where Bryce Huff and Keon White were the best players on that defensive line. And Keon White, we got him for just trading down in the draft. We got him for a 6th, and they gave us a 7th back, which was 15 picks apart, I think, somewhere in there. But that was an absolute steal right there coming from the Patriots, and he will be good and be able to develop, when Nick Bosa gets back, and they'll be able to use him. However, I mean, the guy can line up 4-3 defensive end, or, even if they go to shades of a 3-4, I mean, we can add a little bit of that because he can play defensive end in that as well, but he can play defensive tackle in a 4-3. He can slide inside without a problem. And besides that, I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to text Chris right now, figure out what's going on with him. So give me a second.
No, so I'm using the Brave browser now. So just give me a second to. Oh, Google Chrome. Google Chrome is the problem. Good. Okay, so where's the draft simulator? There we go. Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second. Oh, it's working. Perfect. William, you're back. Okay. So I exited out of Google Chrome and I exited out of Google Chrome and I put it on the Brave browser, and that apparently did the trick.
You know, somehow I figured it out and my picture came up, and now I'm sitting with this now, and for a second the under the bleachers thing popped up. It's like, man, you know, I mean, this computer has just been terrible, and it was one of the first ones with the Ryzen.
Yep. So I'm just like, okay, so right now Cassius Howell is one of the favorites to go to Tampa as an edge rusher. So that's the most common player mocked to the Buccaneers. Again, I am taking actual betting odds into account here when making these picks. The Jets pick at 16.
Vegas knows. Vegas knows. You know, the thing I've seen with Jacob Rodriguez is I've seen him all the way up to like 6, 7, but then I've seen him slide out of the first round. Yep. You know, I mean, he is all over the board. And
right now,
very safe player.
The number 16 pick options, the most popular options are Ty Simpson and Denzel Boston out of Washington.
Boston.
Oh, we're gonna go Boston if we have to pick between those two.
Yeah, Simpson. He isn't a first round type. He's not a first round quarterback, man.
No, I have him in like the 3rd round. I don't even have him in the.
Everyone I know does, and
yeah.
I'd take into account with the people I know between you, Daniel Kelly, you know, just a lot of you, because a lot of times you're right, but you're all spot on Ty Simpson. I was already there watching him. It's like, yeah, it's pretty average, you know.
Yeah, I have Joey Aguilar graded ahead of Ty Simpson. Aguilar might go back to college. So the Jets get Denzel Boston here at 16.
I really want to see what happens with Bill Musgrave with the Jets. I mean, that absolutely fascinates me because of the history they have had with quarterbacks, you know, and
I'm going Jacob Rodriguez to the Lions. Just feels like a Dan Campbell pick.
It does.
I don't care what the betting odds say. Just feels like a Dan Campbell pick.
Now that you say it, yeah, for real, man. Dan Campbell's going to he's going to get his guys. That's how I am in fantasy football. I move around enough. Generally, I get my guys 90% of the time. You know, people are like looking at me. It's like, no, dude, you don't understand. I need these players.
Cornerback, interior defensive line. So top draft candidates are Avian Terrell, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, and Caden McDonald. Okay, those few, I think McNeil. The Vikings still have Harrison Smith, and they've got Metellus. I don't think they're going to go safety. Yeah, they could go Anthony Hill Jr. too, but like most people don't have Anthony Hill Jr. in the 1st round. So we're at a point where I am beginning to reach for players in terms of overall value. But Avian Terrell is the Vikings accidentally took Anthony Hill Jr. So the Panthers got another corner in Avian Terrell.
Nice. I like it. Oh, there's my boy, man. Dunker.
Yeah, the Cowboys, they're going to get Maui Goa here, get that. They can buy out Terrence Steele and get on their tackle and reload.
When you were booted off, I ended up going into that route about the Cowboys and just how he's so good at picking offensive linemen and defensive linemen. You know, that's just Jerry Jones, but he needs to pick players with more heart. I don't know if the audience heard me. I got to check back when we get off, but it's just how it is. Dak Prescott doesn't have any fire, man. It's like, you got to let him go. Just trade him, you know, get him out of there, find someone else.
They paid him $60 million last year.
Yeah, that's the crazy part, man. It's like, dude, he doesn't have the fire to win. It's just that simple. He can put up all the numbers in the world, and people love him because of fantasy football. People generally grade their players, or should I say, the casual fans, grade their players according to fantasy football, pretty much. And Prescott's up there, but it's like he has
right now
so
the
issues.
players that are linked to the Steelers. The only one that's available is Ty Simpson, so they're going to get Ty Simpson, even though I've got 3 QBs graded ahead of him.
Burn. I like it. I got Colston Loveland the other day for late first, Brenton Strange and Marvin Harrison, and I got a third back in fantasy football. I wanted Loveland so bad. This is a tight end premium league too, so just so that's out there.
That's weird though. Like a lot of something's going on with the simulator because we took Ty Simpson. So the QBs are still showing up, but none of the other positions are showing up. Is there a flaw in the simulator? I'm looking at Ty Simpson here. I'm looking because he got picked so early. I'm looking to see if there's a flaw here. Like, I really am looking because I'm looking at my code because this has never happened before. Why is everything disappearing? Why are the logos disappearing? Why are the photos disappearing? I'm just going to... Well, the Chargers don't need Thieneman. They don't need Parker. It's like, what the hell is going on to where it's like, I'm going to just hit Logan Jones. They could use a center. I'm just going to click on Logan Jones, and we're going to see what happens. Oh, fuck. So the Steelers ruined the simulator. The Steelers...
They broke the simulator.
The Steelers broke the
sounds
simulator.
about right.
I'm looking to see because it's like I'm looking to see if the code, why the code. Yeah, I am going to redo this. If the freaking I'm looking at the code to see what the hell, why. Because it's like I'm just looking here. Why isn't So the only thing that works is the QBs. The photos don't show up for any other positions. All right. I'm going to redo this.
I was seeing photos. I was definitely seeing photos.
Okay. So it's...
Are you not
yeah. So it's
loading
just
on your side or something?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a loading issue. I don't know.
Yeah. Because I'm seeing photos.
But I'm not seeing photos for every player.
I am.
Okay. That's good.
It must be what was ever happening on your end, so.
It is what's happening on my end. Because I think all the photos, all the stuff is working.
Yeah, and I think the audience can see it, so.
Jeez. Should I load this in a different browser? Instead, let's try that.
Yeah.
Let's try that. We're going to try loading the simulator in a... We're going to try loading the simulator in... So yes, we're gonna try loading the simulator in Brave browser instead of Google Chrome because this is. Let's try that. Okay. I'm not saying this is perfect, but this is better than having to wait. Mendoza, the Raiders go Arvell Reese. Again, a lot of this is this draft. We're trying to make it as realistic as possible. So it's going to be based on current draft odds in terms of what we can find. Ruben Bain Jr. is a Titan. And for anyone who can't see what's going on, Carnell Tate is a Giant. The Browns are going to get Caleb Downs. Commanders are going to get David Bailey. Saints are going to go Josh Jeremiah Love. Chiefs are going to get Peter Woods. Bengals are going to take Mansour Delane. Again, a lot of this is predicated on betting odds. Mekhi Lemon's the favorite for the Dolphins. Number 12 is the Cowboys. And right now, the current favorite for the Cowboys is Sonny Styles, Ohio State outside linebacker. Number 13, the Rams, Jermod McCoy. Of the corners left on the board, McCoy is the one that's been most linked to the Rams. Ravens, I think you got to go Jordan Tyson here. I know I've seen Denzel Boston. I've seen a few other receivers, but I think you got to go Jordan Tyson here if you take a receiver for the Ravens. So the Buccaneers, they're going to get Cassius Howell. I have a third-round grade on Cassius Howell, but that's the favorite according to the betting odds. So Buccaneers get Howell. The Jets, they're going to get Denzel Boston. Lions get Jacob Rodriguez because it's a Dan Campbell pick, and because I feel like that's the player they would take in that scenario. Vikings get Terrell. Panthers, they need a middle linebacker. Best player on my board is Anthony Hill Jr. Christian Roseboom's a UFA, so Anthony Hill Jr. just makes a lot of sense. Maui Goa is the best player on my board. He makes sense for the Cowboys. Let's see what happens if we give the Steelers Ty Simpson. Okay. Everything's working, William.
All right.
Isn't that awesome?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Number 22, the Chargers. We're going to give the Chargers... Okay, Parker was not who I had in mind, but that's who the simulator picked, so we will go with it.
Okay.
But if they move on from Khalil Mack, they could buy out Khalil Mack and get another edge rusher. That is a possibility. It's not as crazy as it sounds. The Eagles are going to get Dylan Thieneman. The Dylan Thieneman, Cooper DeJean. I don't know what they want to do with their lives, but yeah. Browns, they're probably either going to get a receiver, Elijah Surratt, or they're going to get an offensive tackle. I really like Caleb Tiernan, the Northwestern guy. I think he's the best fit of the guys left on the board for the Browns, so that's who they're going to get. And then the Bears at 25. They do have Tyreek Stevenson on a rookie deal. They also have Kyler Gordon on a rookie deal that's set to expire, but I think they extended him and they extended Jalen Johnson. So as much as I want to give the Bears D'Angelo Pons, I can't. Next best player on the board is Mark Fletcher Jr. And, you know, with Swift set to be a UFA, that could be the pick here, but I love Kyle Monangai, so I don't want to go that route. Sadiq's on the board. Surratt's on the board. If they buy out DJ Moore, Surratt is an option here.
That's the same situation with Monangai as I was talking about Devin Neal with the Saints earlier, you know.
I'm going to give the Bears Keldrick Falk because they need another edge rusher next to Montez Sweat.
Mm-hmm.
And then
yeah, Sweat's a pretty good one, but that's all he is good. You know, he's not great.
The Bills, let's look at the Bills draft. Bills 2026 draft odds. Let's look at what the Omari Cooper Jr. and KC Conception are the top two. Also, CJ Allen of Georgia. Those are the guys that the Bills are looking at. The highest of those guys that's mentioned is CJ Allen Jr. So that's who I'm going to end up giving the Bills. I know Sadiq's still there. It's crazy. Surratt's still there. Logan Jones. CJ Allen is of the guys that are linked to the Bills. Allen's the only one in my top 32. So now you're on the clock, William, with the Niners pick. BPAs. You still want Claire? I mean, I can go through the BPAs until we get to Claire.
Yeah, let me see a few of them.
And I can click on individual positions as well.
Mm-hmm.
Surratt's there. I mean, Surratt's my consensus wide receiver for.
Yeah, we definitely need a wide receiver. I'm debating on the Claire thing because I think maybe we can get him in the second round because, you know, he picked Ohio State, but Ohio State tight ends are their fourth or fifth read, you know.
Jennings Dunker's there, but they extended their right tackle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man, I like Dunker, though. And, I mean, but people are always... Fans are always clamoring for offensive linemen with the 49ers regardless. I think that's just part of the fan base. But, yeah, I guess before... I'm sitting here thinking about Dunker and, I mean, what he could do on this offensive line. I mean, what are his measurables?
Would be an upgrade over Colton McKivitz at right tackle if you go that route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me grab Dunker. I think there's wide receivers and tight ends later in this draft that we can get.
Yep. Jennings Dunker's a Niner. Okay.
I like it. Might change my mind next time we do a simulator, but you know.
Yeah.
I think I can grab Claire in the second. I'll see which wide receivers are there too, because I mean, it'll have to be. We need to get a wide receiver one somewhere. Dig one up, trade for one.
There's been mocked the Texans, but Ursary won player of the game on Draft Utopia, so I'm not giving the Texans a left tackle. Lee Hunter is a good option for the Texans. That's a guy, but I'm looking at the options. What's the best available lineman on the board for the Texans? It is Logan Jones, the Iowa Hawkeyes center. I'm not opposed to that if I'm the Texans because they need offensive line help. So they're going to get Logan Jones. The Rams... Rams already got Jermod McCoy. They could get Pons as well, but they could also get Kenyon Sadiq. Well, they already got Terrence Ferguson, so they don't need Sadiq. Surratt's also an option. You know what? Screw it. I am going to give the Rams two corners since Pons is the best player on the board. I'm going to give the Rams Pons to pair with.
Give them the one with the highest bust potential.
Yeah. William, if you're the Broncos here at 30, do you take Fletcher to replace Harvey or do you go with Sadiq?
I'm going with Sadiq because they absolutely need a tight end somewhere. And
they've got two good ones, though, in Evan Ingram and Adam Troutman.
How long is Ingram with them for?
Let me look at the Ingram contract.
Right, because Adam Troutman, yeah, I liked him coming out of college and everything. And I'd like to see him blossom. He's about due for it in that position.
Sadiq is the number one candidate for the Broncos.
Yeah.
So even if well, I gave the Patriots Surratt. look, Elijah Surratt is a good option.
Yeah.
I think he can be a number one option for Drake May.
I watched him catching some of those passes from Mendoza. And
so even though the simulator auto drafted, I'm not upset with that because he's the number 2 player on the board behind Fletcher, and he gives Drake May a number 1 target if you move on from Diggs. So I can live with Elijah Surratt.
Yeah.
Are there other positions I'd rather address before receiver? Yes, but I'm not going to be pissed at the simulator for that. And since the Seahawks are letting Kenneth Walker the third walk, they're getting Mark Fletcher Jr. That's what you guys get for beating me in the Super Bowl. I'm not even looking up the odds. You're getting the best player on the simulator, and that's that. The Jets, I guess the Jets are getting Christian Miller because I'm going to go for BPA once. Now that we're in round 2, I can either auto pick or go for BPA. Since the Jets have 2 first-round offensive tackles, they're going to get Miller instead of a quarterback. Cardinals also have 2 first-round tackles, so they're going to get McNeil Warren, and he's going to replace Jalen Thompson. The Titans, I guess the Titans could get Brian Parker, but they have Lloyd Cushenberry from Denver at center, and they've got the 2 tackles. If you drafted Parker here, you're getting him as a guard. You could also get Derek Moore and double up at edge rusher if you're the Titans. You could get Derek Moore, pair him with Reuben Bain, and double up at edge rusher.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that because that's the better option of the 2. The Raiders, they are going to get Brian Parker. He's going to be their right tackle next to Colton Miller. We're going to get Dodoza some protection. And the Giants are grabbing Eli Stowers here. So far the Giants have 2 players. They've got Carnell Tate and they've got Theo Johnson and Eli Stowers. So that's a great start to their draft. The Texans, Diego Pavia is the best player on the board, but the Texans are not taking Pavia. The Texans are going to continue to build in the trenches. They're going to go with Ione out of Penn State. The Browns probably wanted Ione, but they have right now Conklin's, but I gave them. I think my top right tackle is Keegan Trost, so that's who the Browns are going to get. They're going to get Keegan Trost here. Chiefs,
they definitely need it.
Chiefs don't need Diego Pavia, so we're not going to be doing auto draft for a while. Chris Johnson would be a good number 2 corner next to Trent McDuffie. Just really good value here. I know running back is an option as well, but we're going to go Chris Johnson out of San Diego State. The Bengals, if they don't want to pay Chase Brown, reloading at running back is an option. Trey Zune, Pat Coogan. I think Pat Coogan, the Bengals do need an upgrade at center if they move on from their starting center. I think Coogan is the best fit, so we're going to go with him here. Chase Brown's just too valuable for me to replace. Do we give the Saints Diego Pavia here?
Oh,
I mean, he is the best player on the board. Tyler Shudd did enough to earn a second year.
Yeah, I think he did, and they've got that love for Shug.
I'm just looking what left guard options are available.
Yeah,
Go Mikhail Kamara. I think we go Kamara here. I think he's a better fit I think he's a better fit than Messidor for this 34 defense the Saints run.
Is he related to Alvin at all? Do you know?
Yeah. The Dolphins. Diego Pavia, if the Dolphins don't have a lot of confidence in Ewers, they could very easily draft Diego Pavia here. And I just want to get Pavia off the board since he's the BPA. So I am giving the Dolphins Diego Pavia. They are getting Pavia at 43. That's our first surprise of the draft, William. QB2. I think Quinn Ewers beats him out, but I have to get QB2 off the board, William. And
there you go.
I had to get him off the board. The Jets love Pavia, and they were going to pick him at 44. So the Dolphins.
The thing is that somebody his size is going to have a problem in the NFL. A lot of people say that, but he also does have the attitude. I mean, he did really well in the SEC, and the best in the SEC is comparable to what's going on in the NFL.
Do we give the Jets a running back? Breece Hall's not going to re-sign with them. I mean, they have Braylon Allen, but he struggled to stay healthy, and they have Isaiah Johnson, but I feel like he hasn't moved the needle. Do we bring in another running back?
I think you're going to have to.
Yeah, if the best player on the board's a running back and the Dolphins just screwed you out of a QB, I think you have to take Jonah Coleman here if you're the Jets.
Yeah. I like it.
Ravens, we're going to go Jake Slaughter because they are losing Tyler Linderbaum. He's a free agent. So, and Messidor is the other edge rusher the Buccaneers are looking at as a round 1 option. So they're going to get him to pair with Cassius Howell, and they're going to double up at edge rusher. The Colts have the next pick. Emmett Johnson would be a good number 2 running back, but I don't think the Colts are going to double up at running back. Malik Muhammad's an option. Keontae Scott's an option. Justin Jolly, they drafted a tight end last year. They've got a lot of receivers. Corners, they've got corners. They've got Sauce Gardner, so they've got Ward. So I don't think they need a corner when everyone's healthy.
Who's the favorite again?
This is the Colts.
Okay.
This is the Colts' first pick. I do have a third-round grade on Carson Beck. I'm kind of tempted to reach for Carson here. I know it's the second round, but
the sad part is I have him at QB1.
So
he with the team around him,
and Carson Beck would thrive in Indy with that supporting cast.
He absolutely would, man. He absolutely would. That's what I was getting to.
This, Carson Beck, I guess we're going to reach for Carson Beck here. Yeah.
Having Tyler Warren, Josh Downs, Michael Pittman.
Yeah. Jonathan Taylor, Quentin Nelson at left guard, Bernard Raymond at left tackle.
Yep. An offensive line that absolutely gelled together, and
yeah, absolutely.
With what happened with Danny Dimes, you can't ever guarantee that an injury.
And right now, the top QB on my board is Aguilar. He may go back to college. There hasn't been a ruling on that yet, and I don't think the Falcons are going to reach for a QB. So I'm looking. They need a number 2 corner. So Malik Muhammad, you are a Falcon, sir.
There you go.
Vikings. Vikings are looking at running backs, though. Aaron Jones is the UFA. So Emmett Johnson, the BPA, he comes off the board here. The Lions, Taylor Decker might retire. So Trey Zun, who I have graded ahead of Proctor, comes off the board here. Proctor. Panthers take a flyer on Proctor because Ike Ekwonu tore his ACL in the playoff game against the Rams. We don't know if he's going to be healthy next year, and we don't know if the Panthers want to pay him. So they take a flyer on Proctor. If it doesn't work out or it's a disaster, they can just pay Ekwonu in the offseason. They can give him the 5th-year I think the 5th-year tender for him takes effect, but he hasn't gotten paid yet. So the Panthers need a center, but they kind of got screwed out of all the good centers. Proctor is someone Bryce Young will vouch for. So we could also give the Panthers another tight end. They have guards. They have good guards. They need a center, but there's not a center worth taking, William. So this is a bad spot for the Panthers to be in. They can roll the dice on Proctor at this point in the draft, because if Ekwonu tore his ACL, and I just feel like that's a classic Dave Tepper pick, Caden Proctor. So
Dave Tepper meddles too much in who is picked. He doesn't know as much about football as his coaches do.
I agree.
And that's the problem with him. I mean,
and Proctor,
there's a problem with owners like him.
Yeah. And that's the thing with you paid Taylor Moton. I think they're going to pay Ekwonu, but if they don't, and he tore his ACL and they don't want to pay him now, and they want to wait to see him recover before they pay him, then you are looking at a situation where they could draft Proctor here and take a long-term flyer on him. And even if you do pay Ekwonu, Proctor's a good swing tackle to have this late in the draft. Keontae Scott, you are the Green Bay Packers #1 cornerback. Congratulations. Steelers. We gave the Steelers Ty Simpson last round, so what does a good quarterback need? They need a good. We're going to give them
safety valve.
Brazel, top receiver on my board. The Eagles, they have not drafted a tight end yet, I don't believe. We gave them the Oregon tight end.
Did we?
We gave them the Oregon safety. Dylan Thieneman.
Oh,
That's right.
Okay.
Because him, Cooper DeJean, Justin Jolly. Chargers. We could go Red Murdoch, Buffalo, KC Conception. I think we gave the Chargers an edge rusher last round. They got.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to their pick just to see what I gave them, and they got TJ Parker at edge rusher. Okay.
I mentioned that when I was doing my little spiel, waiting for you to get back, and talking about Mike McDaniel, coming in there to be offensive coordinator. What a pick that is with Jim Harbaugh. I mean, that was, like I said, McDaniel's fatal mistake.
I'm going to go Pregnan here because the Zion Johnson, the Chargers left guard, is a UFA. So Pregnan, Oregon.
That is a Harbaugh type pick, man.
Yeah.
And that is where McDaniel screwed up. That was his fatal mistake as a coach. He went for more home run hitters than he did, linemen. He got away from building and, just tried to get away with what he had. And, when he comes back, that'll be a good thing. But I like that pick. Pregnan. Yeah.
The Jaguars are going to move. Jaguars are going to move Travis Hunter to corner next year. Do I go Conception here? Red Murdoch, I really want to give them him, but they're going to extend Devin Lloyd, so I don't think the Jaguars will pick him.
Mm-hmm.
So our options are, I might just go Josh Motton here, top corner on the board, because I feel like the Jaguars need. Well, they have a good. They traded their #1 Tyson Campbell away, so even if Hunter blossoms, they need a good #2 corner. So I'm going to go Josh Motton, Southern Miss corner, the Jaguars here.
Yeah.
Bears at 57. Bears are leading towards cutting Tremaine Edmonds. So knowing that, they're going to get Red Murdoch, top player on the board. And yeah, you're back on the clock, William. I think you got last round, I think you got tight. Let me see what you did last round. I think I
went Claire.
No, you went Jennings Dunker. Conception, the guy Ruthless,
I was saying last time,
on the board. Conception, the guy Ruthless took, is still on the board at 53. Or he's best player on the board too.
Is he?
Yeah, KC Conception, the guy Ruthless took. So that's who you want?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it. We need a receiver with wide receiver 1 traits.
And the Texans are going to continue their offensive line strategy since Jaden Roberts is the BPA.
Mm-hmm.
Bills, round 2.
And you know damn well who I'm taking in the 3rd round, buddy.
Yeah, I know. It's Claire if he's there.
It is.
Okay, so I'm looking here. The Bills took CJ Allen, middle linebacker. They are looking at some receivers, though, some receiving options. Who's the best receiver on the board? Because this is a bad situation for the Bills, I think. Skylar Bell. I do have a second on Skylar Bell. I know he's undersized, but if the Bills are hell-bent on taking a receiver in the first 2 rounds, that's who they're stuck with. Tacario Davis, cornerback. Rams already took 2 corners. Cage Casey's a left tackle. Michael Taffy is a safety. That would be a good value pick. Markel Bell's a left tackle. The Rams need like a true right tackle, I think, at this point in the draft. So.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some other tight ends.
Blake Miller is a Ram.
Okay.
Okay, so the Broncos, they took Kenyon Sadiq last time, I believe. So who's the Broncos have a ton of depth at corner, so Takerio Davis is just not an option for Denver. Cage Casey, they could take him and groom him behind Bulls, but I think Michael Taffy is the pick here because Brandon Adams, I think, is supposed to be a free agent, but Brandon Jones, Taffy learns under Brandon Jones for a year and then becomes Denver's free safety. That's the pick.
I like it.
All right, so our options here are Takerio Davis. I think we're going to go Cage Casey here.
All right.
I mean, the Patriots have really good corners, William.
That seems like a Patriot pick, man.
Cage Casey, he's basically a developmental. If Will Campbell's not the answer, Cage Casey will be a swing tackle this year. And if Will Campbell's not the answer at left tackle, we can move Campbell to left guard and Jared Wilson to center in 2027 when Garrett Bradbury's a UFA. So that's the thought process, basically. He'll be a swing tackle this year, and then if Will Campbell has to move inside to guard, Casey's our answer at left tackle. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm also looking at edge rusher options. I'm looking at the positional value pyramid. I'm looking at the edge rusher options and the nose tackle options.
Mm-hmm.
Donnie Dennis Sutton. Don't hate that pick, but I don't love it either. How many sacks did Donnie Dennis Sutton have this season? Let's look that up.
Yeah, I missed the spelling on his name. Otherwise, I would have.
That's basically because honestly, I think Cage Casey is a classic Patriot pick, and he's a good insurance play if Will Campbell's not the answer at left tackle, and you can ease him in. You can start him out as a swing tackle, and those are the two I've narrowed it down to.
Yeah.
Cage Casey, he played left tackle in 2025. He played left tackle in 2024. He played left tackle in 2023, and he redshirted in 2022. So he's been a left tackle his entire career, Cage Casey. (32 and 7/8 inches. So his arm length is basically slightly longer than Will Campbell's, but
yeah,
I don't know. I want to see what Donnie Dennis Sutton did. And Mike Vrabel basically came out and said Will Campbell's our left tackle.
Yeah.
Donnie Dennis Sutton had 8.5 sacks, but that's not. I know he's a good value at this point in the draft, but it's
okay.
like
Well, the thing is with Will Campbell, he got one hell of a lesson, and he is strong enough to survive that. You know, it's just one of those things.
That's why I don't really want to give up on Will Campbell yet. But I'm looking. Is there?
That wasn't really his fault, man.
You know, I agree. I don't want to give up on him yet. So
yeah.
I'm looking. What is my best option here? Gabe Jacost, maybe. Gabe Jacost had 11 sacks with Illinois this year. But I want to see where those sacks came against before I pick him. So he had 2 against Western Illinois, 1 against Duke, half a sack against Western Michigan, no sacks against Indiana, half a sack against USC, half a sack against Purdue, 2 sacks against Rutgers, he did have 2 sacks against Northwestern in the season finale. I do like Gabe Jacost, 11 sacks for Illinois, fits the 34 defense that the Patriots run.
Mhm.
I'm kind of tempted to take Jacas here. I've got 3 minutes to decide, but yeah. Let's go with maybe Jacas in round 3. I'm thinking defensive tackle. Kyrus Tonga's a UFA, but if we get somebody like Tim Keenan or Caden McDonald in the middle, it's going to be very hard to stop our defense. So I'm going to go Keenan out of Alabama because he's gotten triple teamed. And with Milton Williams and Barmore, you're not going to be able to triple team Keenan. But that's how much of a presence Keenan's had, that he's been commanding triple teams at Alabama. So I'm going to go Keenan. And the Seahawks with multiple corners, Job and Woolen set to be UFAs. Seahawks get Tacario, best player on the board. And now we're on to round 3. Cardinals are not taking a swing tackle. I think we're going to give the Cardinals Bo Stevens. Titans. I think we gave the Titans Derek Moore at 36. I'm just double checking. Yeah, we gave them Reuben Bain and we gave them Derek Moore. I could give the Titans a left tackle. Obviously, he would be a backup, but I could go that route. I don't think that's... I'm going to go Chandler Rivers for the Titans. That's a good pickup for them. They need a number one corner. They need a corner next to Snead really badly. We gave the Raiders a quarterback and a right tackle. What weapons are available for the Doza?
The Doza. Yeah, he needs weapons, man. He definitely needs
Not
that.
Kozoil. You're
No.
Chris Bell. You're a Raider. Chris Bell. They've got Bowers. They're not taking
Cock blocked on that one.
They got Bowers, so
You can't put 3 tight ends on a team. What the hell's wrong with you, Yanish? Yes,
Yep.
I can.
the Eagles got Justin Jolly, so they're not taking a tight end. We're gonna go. I don't know. I don't know if I like either of those tackles enough. Eagles
What's the best player that's
right over
dropping?
Tyler Steen, so we'll go Reed Adams.
Okay.
The Eagles, Texans. We've gone offensive line with the Texans with early every pick. We're gonna go with another running back, Katron Allen. Browns. I think we went Caleb Tiernan and we went the Missouri tackle. We've already went with tackles for the Browns, so I think at this point it's, do you want edge rusher depth in Donnie Dennis Sutton, or do you want a tight end 2? What's more valuable? And I would say a tight end 2 is slightly more valuable.
It is because of when you can bring him in for mismatches on certain plays near the goal line, everything else like that.
So Kozoil's a Brown. Okay. Commanders, they're going to get, well, Commanders have Tunsil at left tackle, but they'll draft Cage KC, best player on the board, as his replacement. So he'll start out as a backup, but he'll be when Tunsil gets injured, Cage Casey will take his job and he won't give it back, basically.
Yeah.
Bengals will get Donnie Dennis Sutton here. He's too good to last on the board any longer. Caden McDonald is a guy who some have in the first round, so the Saints will get him here. Just really good value. The Chiefs, what we gave the Chiefs Peter Woods, and I think we gave them Chris Johnson. So I think we're going to give the Chiefs Halsey, because I just don't see the I'm waiting for a team that needs a left tackle. I guess we'll give the Dolphins Bell. They have Patrick Paul. They could use Bell as a backup, I guess. I know there's bigger needs, but it's the Dolphins. I don't really care for the Dolphins. I think we went wide receiver Brazel and we went Ty Simpson with the Steelers' first 2 picks. Their other needs are 34 defensive end for depth behind Hayward, strong safety, and left guard. Let's look and see if there's a left guard that's a natural fit for the Steelers here, because that's really the only immediate need the Steelers have left. And Febi Nwaichu is a right guard. So he does not fit the bill. Joshua Braun was a left guard at Kentucky. So Braun is a Steeler.
There you go.
Buccaneers. Aaron Graves. I could go Graves. I could go Moses. I could go Fisher. I think we doubled up at edge rusher with the Bucs already. I'm trying to find a good fit for a player because we've already doubled up at edge rusher with the Bucs. I'm trying to find the right fit for a team like Tampa in the third round. We're going to go Lee Hunter as a backup to Vita Vea, because I really don't know what else to do in terms of the Colts will get Aaron Graves, best player on my board. The Falcons, they drafted Billy Bowman and Xavier Watt, but they have Bowman at nickel corner. I think he needs to be moved to the other safety spot, but as long as Jesse Bates is there, that's not going to happen. Let's give the Falcons McAllister as a slot. Eric McAllister, TCU receiver.
All right.
That's ideal at this point. Ravens. Well, I guess the Ravens can draft for depth. We gave them a receiver. Is Aiden Fisher a true edge? I feel like he's a 43 outside linebacker. That's the problem. Yeah, we're going to give the Ravens Aiden Fisher, though. At this point, it's the third round. The Jaguars own the Lions pick, so they're going to take Moses, best player on the board, with that pick. The Vikings, I think we gave the Vikings a corner in round 1, William. They didn't have their second round pick, I don't believe, so I'm just double checking here. I'm looking through all the picks here. Okay, so they went corner and they went Emmett Johnson. Yeah, because they went Avian Terrell and Emmett Johnson. And the top 2 players on the board are corners. But the Vikings do feel like a team that needs multiple corners, so we'll give them Davis and Igbine-Hohen, the Ohio State corner. Panthers, they have Lathan Ransom and they have the other safety. We will give the Panthers. We'll give the Panthers. They really do need a center, but there's not a center worth taking here. So we'll give the Panthers Alford. He can compete with he can start out as a backup for depth, maybe compete for a bigger role. And then the Packers will double up at corner. They'll get Abney. Ooh, Steelers are up again. Steelers did cut Darius Slay, so they're going to get Stukes. Chargers. Who's Chargers right guard? Or no, they went edge rusher and they went right guard. So I'm just thinking, what would the Chargers do here? We're going to give the Chargers.
Give them a weapon.
I'm tempted to give the Chargers Bangura, but I think they're going to get Caleb Banks, the Florida defensive tackle, still in the board for depth behind.
Poor dude.
Dolphins, if they don't want to pay Achane, Bangura is one of the sleepers of this draft. But they also need a right guard next to Jonas Savannah. They had Cole Strange at right guard. That did not work, so we're going to go Nwanu for the Dolphins. The Jaguars, if they let ETN walk, they're going to need a running back. I love Bangura, 1,500 yards with the Ohio Bobcats. Bangura is one of my sleepers at running back in this draft. So that's the pick there. The Bears, they run a 43 defense. They don't need Jacos. I'm just trying to think who'd be the best fit at this point. I like Grayson Halton. I think that's probably the best fit for the Bears at this point. Is there a strong safety, like a pure strong safety? Catalan's on the board, I guess. The Bears do need a replacement to Brisker if he leaves. Catalan's good value here at 89. Dolphins from the Texans. You're gonna hate me if I do this, William, but I don't think the Dolphins have drafted a tight end yet, and Max Clare's the best available value pick. And this is what sucks because it's like we're one pick away from your Niners pick, but I think I have to give the Dolphins Max Clare because they got Mekhi Lemon, and then they took a quarterback. Dolphins haven't taken a tight end yet. They got Pavia and they got Mekhi Lemon. They haven't taken a tight end yet. So I gotta do this, William. I'm sorry, but I gotta give the Dolphins Max Clare.
Hey,
the Bills are on the clock. Then you pick at 92.
Mm-hmm. I see how it is.
I mean, the Bills. We're gonna give the Bills. I don't know who we give the Bills in terms of fit. I'm going to go R. Mason Thomas because I think multiple defensive ends, Bosa and Epineza, are UFAs. So, wait, the draft's not complete. Hold on a second.
What?
The draft's not complete. The simulator says the draft's complete after 90 picks. It's not. So I have to edit it so it's how many picks are in the draft? Let me look. So that's all you're getting today, guys. I gotta fix this. I did not.
Damn it.
Yeah, because the code I said says the draft is complete if the current pick is less than or equal to 91. Draft complete. That's what the code says. So I'm gonna look here. I'm gonna look at all the comp picks and see how many total picks there are. So there's 257. So we're gonna put 258. If the current pick is 258, draft complete. So we'll fix it next time. We will. So we won't do round 3 today, but because that was a very simple glitch in the code, I didn't understand. And I set it up that way so that it would be done after 90 picks in the MLS draft. I never changed that part of the code, William. That's on me, buddy. That is entirely on me. Okay?
No problem, man. We good.
Plus, it's noon. We can get out of here. This was fun, but we probably should get out of here pretty soon. Who's in the chat room here? What's your prediction for Columbus Crew? Andy Goat. I have Columbus Crew making the I have the Crew making the play-in round as the 8th seed and winning a game in the play-in round and losing to Inter Miami. I think Julio has Columbus missing the playoff. Let me read Julio's MLS predictions before we go off the air. Because okay, so Palmer Bank is going to go to their second team, the LA Galaxy second team.
More fun with drunks, an Australian reporter hammered at the Olympics.
All right, let me look at Julio's MLS predictions.
Coffee over here. It's actually fine.
He has Columbus Crew as his 9th. So Julio's got Inter Miami at 1, Nashville at 2, Union at 3, Cincinnati at 4, Charlotte 5, New York Red Bull 6, New York City FC 7, Fire are 8 again, and the Crew are 9th in his pool. I've got the Crew at 8, but he's got the Crew at 9, and then he's got the Galaxy at 7. He's got LAFC and Inter Miami at 1. So I've got Inter Miami over LAFC in the MLS Cup as well. I've got my Galaxy, though, as the 4 seed making the conference finals. FC Dallas I have as a 1 seed. I think they were a 7 seed last year. I think they're going to be better, much better, and they're going to surprise a lot of people. But yeah, he's got CF Montreal at 15. That's something we both agree on. So yeah. But yeah, I didn't notice that glitch in the simulator. It's a good thing we tested that. But we can always do rounds 3 and 4 another time. Maybe next week, we'll see. Because I have not communicated with Joey since I flipped out after the Super Bowl. I wasn't trying to push him away. It's just I was in such a dark place after that game.
Yeah.
So
I know how that is, man. I felt that recently. It was just like, oh, for the rest of it.
the point where I can't even think straight.
It lasts like a month, man. It's like,
It does. I'm ready to talk on a reasonable level, and if Joey would rather do like his own show where he talks about his own topics on here instead of Draft Utopia, I'm open to that. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. Yeah, I'm gonna sign off. We've covered a lot here in the last 2 hours, and I didn't want the show to last past 2 hours. But thanks to everyone who tuned in.
yes, sir. Thanks, everyone. And watch Under the Bleachers coming up.
Yep.